Hello, hello. So we're going to finish up our narcissist series tonight. We started this 2 weeks ago. We had a really good turnout on our Facebook Live. So thank you to everyone who was there and had a lot of good conversations back and forth. I enjoyed that. It was fun. Tonight we're going to finish it up on how to deal with a narcissist. Just to recap really quickly, last week we talked about narcissism being on a scale of 0 to 10. We all have narcissistic traits. Halfway in that scale, a 5 is actually a healthy amount of narcissism. And if you go above that, it's unhealthy amount. If you get to 9 and 10, it's really toxic. The key to remember about that is that if you're below a 5, that's not healthy either. And it's important to increase your own level of esteem so that you can deal with a narcissist in your life. So that's kind of a recap of last week really quickly. We talked about how to spot a narcissist, and I gave you guys some tips and hints that aren't the typical things you see when you're Googling online on how to spot a narcissist. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. And I didn't get any hate mail from Dissing on the Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. So I was actually really relieved about that. Nothing like taking a childhood story and poking a bunch of holes in it. So thank y'all for that. And then tonight, let's see, where do we want to start? There's one more thing about dealing with a narcissist that I want to tell you guys about, and that is called I call it the preemptive strike. And so, hi, Chris. Good to see you. Hi, Ashley. The preemptive strike is when you know that you are going to, you can predict, when you're dealing with a narcissist that it's going to be a difficult interaction. So say you are dropping the kids off and your ex is going to be there. And every time that you see your ex, then something is said, some hateful comment, some criticism, some insult, and it's really kind of wounding. It's coming. And so one of the things that you can do that will kind of protect yourself is to let the person know, look, I'm hoping that we can spend some time together for you to see the kids, for us to have a good time, and that's important to me. But when we are together, you usually say something that's hurtful or insulting to me. And I just want you to know that if that happens, I'm going to be taking the kids and we're going to be leaving. And so it's preemptive, it's predictive. Most narcissists do not like to be predictable. So there's one thing there, but it's also setting your boundary really clearly from the very beginning. And that's a good thing. Everybody asks me a lot if a narcissist can change. Used to, research would tell us that they can't, that once a narcissist, always a narcissist, and it's always going to be a difficult situation. Now we know that they actually can change. Not that it's going to be an easy road, but it can change depending on, I think, how far up the scale they are. If you've got somebody who's a 9 or a 10, probably not going to be changing. 6, 7, 8, maybe. And there's a test that you can actually do to see if your narcissist can change. One of them is looking for any kind of opportunity or a time when your narcissist is showing empathy. Do you ever see moments of softening there? And if you do, it's really important that you highlight that or emphasize it. And that is complimenting them, letting them know that what they're doing is connection. Because remember, a narcissist is addicted to feeling special. And so your job is going to be, if you want to try to deal with one, especially if you're married to one, is to help them feel special when they're doing things that show empathy, kindness, or compassion to someone else. And so part of your work is catching them doing something right and staying on top of that and helping them feel special and recognized and acknowledged when they are doing something right. The other thing is when you are wounded by a narcissist, when someone is telling you something hard. So say it's a parent and they're always telling you you're a disappointment. You're not a good mom. You're not a good wife. You're not, you don't come to see them enough. And you're just a disappointment to us. People usually respond to that kind of thing in one of two ways. And one is to, depending on where you are on the scale on that particular day, is to be silent and kind of swallow it and not deal with it hoping it'll just go away, kind of suck it all in. The other one is to kind of go on the attack. And neither one of those, while it's normal and understandable, is going to be very helpful. And so if you want to know if a narcissist can change, it's really important for you to come at this from a place of vulnerability. And that is, somebody says something to you like that and you say, Mom, when you tell me I'm a disappointment to you, I want you to know that that really does hurt me. It really hurts me. It makes me feel a lot of shame. It makes me feel bad about myself, and it's devastating to me when you do that. And then watch and see how the narcissist responds to that. If they're able at all to see your side or to have empathy for what you're going through, that's a good sign that they can actually change. If they can't and they stay really defensive or get angry at you or just keep minimizing what you're doing, you got your work cut out for you. So say hi. Tell me who all's here. Who all's on here? I want to see you. Kate, what about when they guilt trip you and cry when you set boundaries? Well, Kate, I would say that you would have to say that's unfortunate that they're not happy. Your job isn't to set boundaries and then be happy about it. You're going to have to, that's the part of strengthening yourself, which is, hi, Josh, hi, Ash, which is being okay when they get upset. And they can't lay a guilt trip on you if you don't let them. And so, hi, Chris, you just tell them, set your boundary and hold it. And if you're doing that from a respectful place, Kate, then you don't have to feel guilty, right? So when you're coming at this from a place that's vulnerable and respectful, there's nothing to feel guilty about. They may not see it, but that's true. Can you be a narcissist and codependent at the same time? Yes, you can be a narcissist and codependent at the same time. It's an interesting combination. I'd have to sit and think through what all that would look like. Narcissists they're very codependent about, needing people to make them feel good. And so that can be a really toxic dynamic. So yeah. Bridget says, my husband seems very threatened by my success, accomplishments, skills, intelligence. He has even intentionally withheld or retracted support. Mine has also recently become a thief, a master liar, and a cheater, and has currently abandoned me for his much less threatening and less accomplished mistress and wants a divorce. Could it be limerence that has exaggerated his narcissism? Is there likely hope to recovery? How can I know? Wow, Bridget, that's a mouthful, and that is a situation. One, good for you for knowing limerence. Not a lot of people know what that is. It could be limerence, especially if this is less than 2 years old, this affair that he's involved with. Can it exaggerate his narcissism? I don't know about exaggerate. I mean, I don't think limerence exaggerates narcissism. I think it's just a deadly combination. I mean, they want what they want and they go for what they want and they don't really think about the repercussions of the people that they have commitments to. So yeah, a narcissist can easily have an affair and not feel guilty for it. And is there hope for recovery? we work with people all the time whose spouse wants a divorce and you don't. You want to save it. So yes, there's hope for recovery. The only way to know that is to do the work of finding out what it is that you're doing that is causing, might be causing the situation to be worse. A lot of people start panicking, they start begging, they start pleading, they start asking their spouse not to leave. We've got to, actually on our website, Bridget, go to themarriageplace.com and there's a free ebook there that kind of tells you what not to do. That might be a good place for you to start to see how you can know. So, here's what I want to tell you about. So when you are tiptoeing, we talked about the two ways that most people deal with narcissism. One way is to kind of tiptoe around it. When you are not standing up to your narcissist, when you're caving in because they make you feel guilty when they cry, or they get upset, or they get angry, and so it's easier to just kind of ignore it, you're actually strengthening their narcissism. Your silence strokes their ego, and you're helping to create the monster. I hope that makes sense, because you're not providing, you're not showing the mirror, you're not putting up any hurdles, you're not letting them know that they're being offensive, because they don't know that they're being offensive normally without being told, even though it's obvious to everyone else around them. You know, they're pretty clueless about it. And so it's important not to stay silent if you're in a situation or a relationship where it's safe to speak up. If it's not safe, you need to be getting out anyway. And if you're on the other extreme where you're engaging in a power struggle with a narcissist, you're in a battle of wills. Hi, Whitney, good to see you. Then this is really dangerously toxic too, because you guys, you're fighting narcissism with narcissism. Now you're both up above on the high end of the scale. And what this does is this creates a cycle of intensity that I think a lot of people confuse with passion, especially in a romantic relationship. And this becomes the dynamic where it's intense, there's a lot of fighting, and then there's making up. And everybody tells me, but oh, when it's good, it's so good. And I'm like, please. I mean, this is just this kind of chaos in the kids and what they're witnessing. It's abusive for your kids to witness this kind of stuff going on in your home. So it's really important, hey, Michael, to deal with the narcissist from an even level playing field and come from a place of vulnerability. It's the only way that you're going to have a true empowerment in the relationship, because it's already off balance. What else do I want to tell you about a narcissist? So how do you respond? How do you connect with a narcissist? Sammy, it wasn't safe. Every time I exposed him, he got more violent. Yeah, Sammy, that's really high on the narcissism scale. If there's violence going on in the relationship, get out, get out, get out, get out, and get safe. And stay out until it is safe. Even if you have to divorce. I mean, that's just, I don't play around with that. And if there's kids involved in the home and there's violence, get them out. So, what do narcissists respond to? Like, narcissists, I've told you, they like to feel special. So when they're thoughtful, praise them for their traits, catch them doing good, and heap on the praise. You might feel like people will tell me, you know, hi, Mark, thanks. People will tell me that I shouldn't have to be grateful for those things. That it should be something that they know or just do. It should be, but if you're dealing with somebody with narcissism, they're going to need that, and that's what's going to make them feel special, and that's what they're going to start turning to. You want them to understand that being special comes with connection, not with how attractive they are or how successful they are or how big and powerful or loud or how much they win. And so when you praise them for the softer moments, when they actually do connect with someone, they're learning that they can feel good, that's how they feel good, is by connecting with others. Sammy says she's divorcing now. Good. If he's violent, I'm glad you are. I'm glad you are. Kate. My mom told me she went to the doctor and she said the doctor said I was causing her illness because I didn't like her. Wow, Kate, your mom is really good at guilt tripping. Really good at guilt tripping. So let me just say this. One, I doubt that a doctor would say that. I really doubt that a doctor would say that. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I doubt a doctor would say that. You cannot cause someone's illness. Stress can cause illness, and it sounds like your mom is probably under a lot of stress if she doesn't get something that she wants from you. And that is not that's not on you, sweet girl. That's on your mom. And so she's got to learn how to deal with not always getting her way. And you've got to learn how to take care of yourself in the relationship with your mom. But yeah, I bet the doctor told her her stress was causing her illness, and she thinks you're causing her stress. When your narcissist is your parent and is using manipulation techniques to hurt you or deflect from themselves, do you cut off that person or do you try and heal the relationship? Mel, that's a great question. I am when it's a parent especially, I am not big on cutting off relationships with parents entirely, unless that they truly are high on the toxic level. I'm big on good boundaries. I'm big on setting limits. I'm big on limiting time together. But before I would cut that person off, I would work really hard on myself and setting boundaries. And so we talked a little bit about some of that 2 weeks ago when we met. So go back and watch that if you haven't. But it's about letting your parent know, even the preemptive strike that we talked about just a few minutes ago, which is, look, I really want to spend time with you, but when I come, this is how you're talking to me and it's hurtful. And if that happens, I'm going to have to go. So it's really going to be up to you how much time we spend together. Does that help, Mel? Steve says, I'm trying to become less of a narcissist in my relationship with my wife. What steps can I take? Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that somebody says they're struggling with narcissism. So Steve, there's lots of steps that you can take. One of the things that you need to do is work on your empathy skills, and learning how to connect with her. You can do that in ways of giving her permission to talk to you when she feels like you're going up on the scale, and listening to her, whether you believe it or not. And you need a healthy dose of shame and remorse when you go off. And so it's learning how to make amends and make repair when you do go off. But being really conscious of your motives would be a good place to start with that. Lisa, that's what I did. Filed for divorce, and he got way more angry. Refuses to follow the court order. No child support, no financial support, to the point of potentially losing the house. I had to tell our kids the truth. It's sad that a person can be that hurtful, especially to his own children. It is sad. It is sad. And Lisa, that's a tough situation to be in. As much as you can, I would leave the kids out of it. Keep them out of the middle of the junk and the toxicity. I know that's going to be hard, but boy, that's really tough for the kids. So sorry to hear that. So when do you leave? How do you know when to leave a narcissist? When do you cut off the ties? So if your narcissist is on the 9 or 10 of the scale, you're dealing with what we call full-blown malignant narcissist, truly toxic narcissist, even to the point where there might be a psychopath, which means no remorse, basically. If there's someone that high on the scale, nothing you do is going to reach that person. And that would probably be somebody that I would cut off. And if there's physical abuse, I would leave, cut that person off. And if there's always complete denial of their problems and because no one can change what they don't acknowledge. And so if there's no willingness to see their side in it, and if you've got somebody who's telling just a lot of really outrageous, hurtful lies, and there's no remorse, they're like serial cheaters. So a lot of narcissists are, they have multiple affairs, and they get caught and they show some kind of false remorse, and then the person takes them back, and then they're out doing it again and again and again. And so it's just that level of lying without any kind of remorse or making amends would be one that I would leave for sure. And then to highlight the two ways to know if your narcissist can change, just to highlight it again: can they feel empathy even when you praise them for it? So if you're catching them doing right and you're heaping on the praise when they do show empathy, can they show empathy? Can they feel that connection? And two, can they relate to you when you're being vulnerable? So when you tell a narcissist that they're hurting you and it's really painful being with them and experiencing this, can they show empathy? So those are kind of the tips or whatever to see if one can change. Mel, it sort of helps. The narcissist, although a parent, uses any means to essentially abuse her children. Yes. Yes, and that's why boundaries are really important, really important. I just can't stress that enough. And so boundaries look like, remember, boundaries are not things that you put on other people. You can't control the parent's behavior. Boundaries are what you put on yourself. And so that's removing yourself from the situation so that you can't be, I can't abuse you if you're not there. And so it's removing yourself and letting them know that you're going to remove yourself. All right, so that's pretty much what I wanted to tell you guys about narcissism. So now, and we did it in about 23 minutes. So we got some time for some more questions or comments. So I'm going to open it up. I do see it. Thank you for pointing it out. He's over here telling me. So Bridget, let me see. How can you tell the difference between real and false remorse or real and false empathy with someone who is also an accomplished liar? It's a great question. So real or false empathy. So false empathy is like lip service. And it's like somebody who, we talked about this last time too, a narcissist can be a good listener and have false empathy or fake empathy for a time being, but look for that really genuine sorrow and remorse, and then look for the amends. Real empathy, there's amends. And so accountability, it's not just, I'm so sorry, it sucks to be you, it's wow, I cannot believe that I hurt you like that. What can I do to make you feel better? And they follow through with that. And so, or stop doing what they're doing. And so actions speak louder than words. So look for the actions. And Mel, but not cutting them off, ? Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I would never cut a parent off. I've had clients where I have suggested that maybe that relationship with their parent was toxic. I said I don't do that lightly, and I don't do that very often, and it has to truly be really toxic. Otherwise, it is a lot of limits and coming back and giving them a chance, but trying to train them. You want to see me, it's gonna look like this, and if it starts to look abusive or awkward or painful, I'm out. Whitney, what's the best couples therapy counseling? EMDR has been really helpful. You mean, are you asking me what modality, what model of counseling and therapy? EMDR is wonderful. I do EMDR with my clients, love it. I think the best couples therapy is the developmental model by Ellen Bader and Pete Pearson. That's what we use at the Marriage Place. We use that in a combination of, well, we use a combination of a lot of things, but I think we're the best couples therapists. Of course I do. The developmental model, and it doesn't pathologize, and so you're not looking to diagnose, or couples go through stages. It's understanding whatever stage you're in and how to get to the next stage. So that's what I mean. Anything else, guys? I like it when you all are talkative. It's more fun. Hi, Kelly. Good to see you. You're welcome, Whitney. I hope that was helpful. When you're looking for a couples therapist, make sure you see somebody who most of what they see are couples. Don't just go see an individual therapist who also sees couples. Does that make sense? So at least 75% of their caseload should be couples. At the Marriage Place, about 95% of ours are couples. That's our main focus. So you really do want a specialist. Kind of like going to a heart surgeon when you need a heart valve replacement instead of a podiatrist, right? Anything else? Thank you for this. See you soon. Okay, Chris. Yeah. All right, so then that's going to tie it up tonight. If you caught on late, go back and rewatch. There's some good stuff on here, I think. The first video, we tried to cram in so much. What was that book? That's a great question. This is the book with the Rethinking Narcissism by Dr. Craig Malkin. It has the questionnaire right in the front, an assessment to help you see where on the scale you are. Actually, chapter 3, right there. How to know where you are on the scale. Really good information. Love that book. Is there a good way to get a narcissist into therapy? The better question is, what kind of therapist wants to work with a narcissist? Not very many. Yes, it's possible to get a narcissist in therapy. The problem with that is that therapists aren't magic with magic wands. Narcissists oftentimes get angry and they fire us if we tell them the truth. Some therapists are intimidated by narcissists, so they don't know how to take them on. So you want one who is not easily intimidated. You can get them in therapy usually with a threat. Most narcissists don't, if the marriage is over if you don't go, or take away something they really want. That's usually when I see them in my office. I tend to enjoy narcissistic men. I don't tend to enjoy narcissistic women as much because they are very hot-headed. But yeah, so make sure you've got a therapist who knows how to handle one. Does it count if the genuine empathy and compassion or tears is shown for TV, movie characters, or celebrities, but not for real people? Yes, and I'm so glad, Jessica, that you asked that, because I worked with a narcissist for a long time who I really did like him. He showed very little empathy for his family, but he cried at TVs and commercials and movies, and that's what we did. We started building on the empathy with that, and he could bring it into the session and with his wife, and that was pretty cool. That was really cool. He was probably one of my favorite clients eventually. when we didn't kill each other. What sort of therapist wants to work with any personality disorder is the question, I suppose. Yeah, well, that's kind of our job. Narcissistic women are few and far between. Oh, no, 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 no. That's not true. There are narcissistic women everywhere. Everywhere. So, everywhere. Anything else? Awesome. Thanks. You're welcome. But anywhere that you, Jessica, anywhere you see empathy at all, note it, mark it, praise them for it. Okay, I guess we're going to wrap it up then. So I appreciate you guys showing up again tonight and hope that you all found this helpful. Remember that you can get a lot of really good and free information at themarriageplace.com. We work with clients everywhere. We've got coaches who will work with you anywhere you are in the world. We've got clients that are international. So we do intensives. People fly in and work with me or one of my counselors. And we deal with all kinds of issues. If you are a child of a narcissist, you are more likely to become one yourself. Yes. Unfortunately, yes. How do you make yourself stronger so you don't feel bad when your narcissistic mother guilt trips you? Kate, that's a good question. That's a lot of work. It's individual work. Learning and understanding what is normal for you to want and need, and feeling okay about taking up that space. You have a right to be treated well. You have a right to your own life. And a therapist can help work with you in that, so that you do develop the confidence to ask for that and to demand that, actually, and how to get that for yourself. So anyway, marriageplace.com, and there's all kinds of free stuff and good information. The blog there is got tons of stuff on affairs and narcissism and all kinds of issues. So we're here to help you guys, and there's a YouTube channel too. All the videos are posted on there as well as on the website. So I don't see any more last minute questions coming through. So I'm going to say good night. So I hope y'all have a good week. And oh guys, Christmas is coming up. Merry Christmas to all of you. Hope you all have some wonderful time with family and friends. And we'll catch you the next time around. Bye guys.